Tonight on UI7 News, we have breaking news as President Trump declares a national emergency.
We'll also be issuing a national emergency declaration at the same time.
We also hear from a 98-year-old French war spy who came to speak on campus last night.
And we have all your inside info on how you can spend your Valentine's Day.
UI7 News starts right now.
From the Richmond Journalism Teaching Studio at the University of Illinois campus, UI7 News, your U of I news source.
Happy Valentine's Day and welcome to UI7 News. I'm Emily Steinmetz.
And I'm Stephen Cohn. We've got a lot coming up on today's show, but first, some breaking news. We have some much anticipated news about another possible government shutdown and funding for a border wall. Sources close to President Donald Trump say he's likely to sign a tentative deal reached by congressional negotiators that would avoid another partial government shutdown. But on Tuesday, Trump said he was, quote, not happy with the legislation, which falls far short of his original demands to pay for a border wall. So, what's next? CNN correspondent Caitlin Collins has more.
President Trump leaving Washington guessing tonight.
We're going to look at the legislation when it comes, and I'll make a determination then.
Declining to say whether he'll sign the border security spending deal until he's seen the final package.
Well, we haven't gotten it yet. We'll be getting it. We'll be looking for landmines, because you could have that, you know.
Despite claiming earlier this week that Democrats would shoulder the blame for another government shutdown, Trump all but ruling one out today.
I don't want to see a shutdown. Shutdown would be a terrible thing. I think a point was made with the last shutdown. People realized how bad the border is.
The president hinting that if he does sign the deal, he could still use his executive powers to secure further funding for the wall.
Regardless of what I do, you know, we already have, as you know, a lot of money where we're building existing wall with existing funds, but I have a lot of options. Just like we do with Venezuela, we have on the border.
Adding he has options most people don't understand to build the wall without congressional approval.
It's going to happen at a really rapid pace. We're giving out contracts right now, and we're going to have a great wall. It's going to be a great, powerful wall.
The bipartisan compromise includes just over $1 billion for 55 miles of new fencing, far below the $5.7 billion for 230 miles Trump shut the government down over in December.
The bipartisan measure easily passed to avoid shutdown, and the bill now goes to the House. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says what's next.
I would say to all my colleagues, has indicated he's prepared to sign the bill. He will also be issuing a national emergency declaration at the same time. And I've indicated to him that I'm going to support the national emergency declaration.
The Senate has confirmed William Barr as the next Attorney General by a vote of 54 to 45. Barr first served as Attorney General under President George H.W. Bush. Democrats worry about his noted support of strong executive authority. Many fear this will lead him to redact important parts of Robert Mueller's Russia investigation report. Barr has promised to release as much of the report as he can, though what is allowable is likely to be a highly subjective decision.
A developing story, Amazon has canceled plans to open a new headquarters in New York City. Amazon noted in a statement that opposition from state and local governments contributed to the decision. They currently have no plans to reopen the search for another headquarters. Keep it tuned with UI7 for more updates.
Are they gonna say something?
Well, let's now check in with our UI7 weather expert, Will Gerard, for a preview of this weekend's weather.
Thanks, guys. I'm weatherman Will Gerard out here on the scene. It's been a pretty beautiful day, actually, with the weather being in the lower 50s, mid 40s, you know. We'll take a look at our 3-day forecast for this weekend. We actually have a high of 27 and a low of 17 tomorrow. And then on Saturday, we have a high of 34 and a low of 24. If you guys have any Valentine's Day plans tonight, make sure to pack a jacket because it's supposed to get pretty cold tonight.
In the murder case of Chinese visiting scholar Yingying Zheng, investigators are sharing new information about what the last moments of her life might have been like. Federal prosecutors now say Zheng's blood was found in Brent Christensen's apartment. The 28-year-old ex-PhD student is charged with kidnapping and murdering Yingying Zheng. Authorities say they also found a bloody handprint and evidence that the blood may have been washed on the apartment plumbing. Investigators brought in a cadaver dog that indicated a dead body had previously been near the sink in his apartment. Christensen confessed to the killing and described how Zheng fought back in recordings obtained by the FBI. The defendant's attorney is trying to get the recent findings dismissed, claiming that the dog used to discover the evidence did not receive proper training to accurately make this conclusion. A hearing will take place on Monday in Peoria. Though this is a murder case with no body, prosecutors are seeking the federal death penalty.
Today marks 1 year since the shooting in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School that killed 17 people in Parkland, Florida. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is now calling for a statewide grand jury investigation. The investigation is into what he calls the Broward School District's failures in its response to the attack on the school and the handling of student safety and security issues. The House Judiciary Committee also passed a measure last night that would require background checks for all gun sales and most gun transfers within the U.S. This is the most significant gun control legislation to advance this far in Congress in years. Parkland shooting survivor Cameron Caskey says he's hopeful after these two initiatives.
Which I know was such a great victory for a lot of the parents because there's been so much corruption on a local level here. We're really seeing a lot of reasons to look to the future and see hope.
Today is also the 11-year anniversary of the shooting at Northern Illinois University that took the lives of 5 students and injured 17 more.
There is officially a hepatitis A outbreak in Champaign County after 3 people in the county have tested positive for the disease. The Public Health Department is working to combat the outbreak through various programs, such as its Needle Exchange Program, an anonymous program that allows drug users to use clean needles in order to prevent sharing and the spread of the disease. According to the Mayo Clinic, the disease is highly contagious and is most likely to be contracted from close contact with an infected person or object. In addition to the needle program, Public Health is offering vaccinations for the disease.
Suburban Express, the popular transportation company known for bringing students to and from the Chicago suburbs, has fallen under more scrutiny. Ui7's Ariel Majeski tells us more about their most recent run-in with the law.
It was an 8-degree January 31st when students were waiting at Alkeld for a Suburban Express bus, but bus number 1400 never came. Customer Bridget Jasinski said owner Dennis Teppin's course of action was even more chilling. A refusal to enter the next bus, her phone placed underneath a bush, and the generic apology offering coupons to settle the issue.
He didn't double check what he had said right away and had consequently abandoned me and didn't provide me a service that I had paid for.
After posting her experience on social media, Jasinski received another email from Suburban, banning her from all services.
Jasinski has filed 2 incident reports to the current Illinois Attorney General. However, Suburban Express, who also runs the Illini shuttle, is already facing a lawsuit filed in April 2018.
This is not a one-off. This is a serious history, years long, of continued, repeated violations of our civil rights laws and our consumer protection laws.
On December 13th, the court ordered Teppin to stop banning services based on negative reviews about the company. So what could Jasinski's incident reports lead to? A legal expert comments.
If the Attorney General may consider it to be more strategic to get a settlement and a broader permanent injunction in place rather than pursue this individual case.
But if the judge believes he is violating his court orders, Teppin could possibly receive fines or jail time. Lawless says the case has a long way to go as the court looks over the facts. The Attorney General spokesman says the next hearing was scheduled for February 12th. Owner Dennis Teppin has refused to comment. In Urbana, I'm Ariel Majeski, Ui7 News.
St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, and for the cities of Champaign and Urbana, changes are coming. This past weekend, the mayors of both Champaign and Urbana announced respective regulations for all establishments planning to serve alcohol on March 1st, on official St. Patrick's Day. Some of the regulations include restrictions on how early the bars can open, what kind of cups they can serve from, as well as limitations on what types of alcohol they can serve. The policies were imposed under the mayor's emergency powers and will be in effect for the whole day on March 1st. While the unofficial holiday is still expected to be celebrated by many, it is yet to be seen how these regulations will affect the bars on what is typically one of the busiest weekends of the year.
Last night I had the chance to meet French spy that was once behind Nazi lines last night at Cranard as Martha Cohn inspired the Champaign-Urbana community with stories of Nazi Germany. With hundreds turned away, more than 2,000 community members filled the Great Hall at Cranard Center for Performing Arts on Wednesday night to hear one important and lasting message from a 98-year-old Holocaust survivor and war hero.
Be engaged.
Martha Cohn served as a French spy during World War II in the 1940s and joined the intelligence service for the First French Army and posed as a German nurse.
As they pass away and getting older, and you can have things written down, you can Google it, but there's nothing like having a person that was actually in the situation speak.
The event, sponsored by Illini Chabad and the Office of the Chancellor, was put together mostly by Chabad Rabbi David Teichtel. The planning began over a year ago when Teichtel read some alarming statistics.
Gerard, we're so happy you can make it. Welcome. There's an article I read recently that 2/3 of millennials don't even know about the Holocaust. A third of the youth in Europe don't believe the Holocaust happened. So just in that itself, to meet someone who lived through it.
I'm actually in line right now to get Martha's 2002 book, Behind Enemy Lines, signed by her. It was the gist of her lecture tonight as she looks back on the past and also what we can learn from Nazi Germany.
When we look at university campus, people say, oh, I'm upset about this or upset about that. You look at the political system, you look at anything in the world that gets you upset. You can look at Martha. She isn't getting upset. She took action.
And as Cohn travels the country sharing her story, she has one takeaway for her audiences.
One person can make a difference, but you have to work on it.
And on a lighter note with that story, we do have the same last name, Cohn, but also her oldest son, his name is Stephen Cohn. So almost the same name, not the same person though, but close.
What an interesting coincidence and awesome opportunity for you to go.
Such a cool night. But coming up after the break, UI7's Jessica Potempa shows us a unique Valentine's Day tradition.
And you'll hear what students have to say about Valentine's Day and the idea of having the day off for the holiday.
And UI7's Ori Benatar hits up the dance floor as couples learn how to swing dance.
All that and more, so stay tuned. Welcome back to UI7 News. As we all know, today is Valentine's Day, and while it is a special day to many, the Windsor in Savoy has its own special traditions. UI7's Jessica Potempa is here to tell us a little bit about what they do and what makes it so unique. Jessica?
Thanks, Emily. It was so amazing to go out and talk to some of the members over there at the Windsor and learn all about their Valentine's Day. I left with a full heart after hearing some of their love stories. Residents new and old joined together Wednesday morning to celebrate music, friendship, and of course, Valentine's Day. The choir sang love ballads such as Funny Valentine to embrace in all the love this Valentine's Day. Deborah Romine, the Windsor of Savoy choir director, says she always feels the love working at Windsor.
I love the people. I just love the whole feel of when you walk in, they're so welcoming.
everybody is. Heart decor on the walls, a sweethearts dance, and sing-along sessions aren't the only ways the residents here at Windsor of Savoy are getting in the Valentine's Day spirit. Residents were invited to send in their wedding pictures to be showcased throughout the halls. The photographs were seen as you turn each corner in the main area. The display of wedding photos led some residents to share their own love stories. Jean Nanny, a Windsor of Savoy resident and pianist, says her and her late husband bonded through music.
He played the piano, but not very well. And we kind of joked about that. But he would plunk away at it.
Jean is not the only resident of Windsor who enjoys seeing the other couple's photographs. Some residents even say the wedding picture display is their favorite Valentine's Day tradition. From a love-themed sing-along session to sharing their own wedding photos with one another, the residents will end their Valentine's Day celebrations with a sweethearts dance Thursday night. In Savoy, I'm Jessica Patempa for Ui7 News.
And Valentine's Day is always a good excuse to learn how to build a delicious dinner. Some students took a break from school and attended a cooking class yesterday in the Ark. The participants prepared several recipes. As an appetizer, they made tomato bites. The filling was made with mozzarella cheese, basil, and garlic. As a final touch, they drizzle the tomatoes with vinegar. They also prepared a salad using spinach, dried cherries, sliced almonds, and feta cheese. This was the final product once all the ingredients were mixed together in the bowl, and the main dish was fettuccine with escarole and brie. While waiting for the pasta to cook, they prepared this tasty sauce. A Valentine's Day dinner is not complete without dessert. These students chose to bake double chocolate cookies, and no one was allergic to chocolate, which made the tasting even better.
Moving from the Ark to the dorms, U of I students found a retro way to celebrate Valentine's weekend. UI7's Uri Benatar gets jiggy with it at Newman Hall.
Illinois students began their Valentine's Week by learning some swing dancing at Newman Hall. The free dance lesson featured 30 minutes of instruction, followed by a free dance to kick back and enjoy. For freshman Riley Mueller, this was a rare opportunity to learn a new skill rather than impress a date.
Hey, this is the first week of the semester, like, hey, we're instructors at this swing dance group that meets at Newman. I was like, that sounds really fun. I've never danced before in my life, so might as well learn something new while off in college.
Everyone learned multiple intricate swing moves from the student teachers. One of the student teachers, senior Ben Jastrzebski, enjoys teaching the lost art and seeing others find joy in it.
Like, there's not a lot of partner dancing anymore, so it's just kind of a lost art, really. It's kind of just funny because a lot of people, when you actually do partner dance, they love it and they have so much fun when they learn together.
People are having fun swing dancing here at Newman Hall. It doesn't even need to be a couple, just a fun way to go back in time, enjoy Valentine's Day, a little more, retro.
Even with happy faces and feet enjoying the dance styles of the 1940s, some students are still tied to the more modern and quaint Valentine's activities. Junior Katie Quain likes the simpler activities a tad more.
Yeah, like going out to dinner, like the whole date thing on Valentine's Day, like giving each other gifts. I think those are nice.
Valentine's Day without a significant other can be tough, but a simple handhold and a twirl is the way this group of friends spread the love. In Champaign, I'm Uri Benatar, UI7 News.
Valentine's Day can be a downer for a lot of people who are single, although the undergraduate library has resources for single students who are looking for something to do this holiday. The UGL has many resources for single students, including counseling and wellness resources. It also has a selection titled Blind Date with a Book, where students can go and choose from a selection of anonymous books, audiobooks, and movies. Similar to a dating profile, they're labeled with keywords for phrases summarizing what it's like and the genre. Also, if you look on the UGL website's blog, you can find a flowchart for the perfect movie to watch on Valentine's Day. Whether you're single or in a relationship, it's titled, What Movie Should I Watch Next?
And while Valentine's Day is a special holiday for many, it might not be a priority for others. UI7's Demetria Ramirez took to the Illini Union to see if students should get the day off for the holiday.
I think that it's fine that it's a holiday. I think it's nice to celebrate your love with someone else, and I don't think it has to be like in a romantic way. I think it can just be a day where you tell people in your life how much you care about them.
I guess it comes down to just we have
set number of holidays, sort of. And I don't know if it's the best day to become a new holiday if you have other options.
It is a very serious holiday, and a lot of emotional investment goes into Valentine's Day, and you can't invest in school and that at the same time. So
I just looked at my Facebook memories, and I posted 8 years ago in high school, if Valentine's Day was such a big deal, why don't we get the day off? So I would love to have the day off for Valentine's Day. That'd be great.
I totally agree. Valentine's Day used to be such a bigger deal in elementary school. Now that you're in college, you're in class for 8 hours on Valentine's Day. No one's giving you the little chocolate hearts in class. It's not the same.
I do. I miss the paper mache mailboxes that we made, and
Good times. Good times.
Giving each other Frozen little Disney themed cards. I still think they're cute. I buy them for my friends with a little treat to go with it. Can't leave anyone out.
Of course, everyone.
But on this day in 2005, 2 Illinois alums and co-worker founded YouTube and changed the way the world watches videos. Stephen Chen and Jawed Kim both studied computer science at the U of I before working at PayPal. The site was founded February 14, 2005, and Kim uploaded the first video, a video of him at the San Diego Zoo 2 months later.
You see that video? That video has 61 million views now. But that's insane that YouTube's growing so much. We'll have more coming back after take a quick break, but let's see what's coming up next.
And we'll be right back with a weather forecast.
It is no ordinary work which we are sent to do. And it comes to us under no ordinary circumstances. We are not here to reproduce, in this new locality, some old and well-known style of college or university. The hungry eyes of toiling millions are turned, with mingled hope and fear, upon us, to see what new and better solution we can possibly offer of the great problems on which their well-being and destiny depend.
Sleet, ice, winds, we've got all here in the Midwest, but Will Gerard's outside enjoying the weather. So what do you have for us, Will?
Thanks, guys. It's been a beautiful day here in Champaign-Urbana, like I've already said. Let's first take a look at the forecast for this week. Tonight, we have it'll be around 16 degrees with a west by northwest wind from 20 to 27 degrees. Tomorrow, it's partly cloudy with a high of 26. Northwest winds expected to come in at 13 miles per hour. If we look at the 5-day forecast for the week, as I mentioned before, we might get a little bit of snow this weekend on Sunday. But aside from that, it'll still be pretty cold, around 30 degrees. In terms of the local area here, everywhere close to us is in the 40-degree range as well. If you look out at the state capitol, it's 49 degrees. In the Midwest, up in Chicago, it's a little colder at 42 degrees. If you look at Indy, it's 49. Down south at Paducah, it's 80 degrees, which is crazy if you think about it. It's February, my goodness. I guess that's southern Illinois for you. And if you look at the national weather, down south, it's pretty toasty with 76 degrees in Dallas, 62 in Atlanta, and 72 in Miami. While out west, the northwest temperatures closely resemble what we're experiencing here in the Midwest. And that concludes your Thursday weather update. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Will. February is not only known as the month of chocolate, Cupid, and love, it is also recognized as American Heart Month. Carle Foundation Hospital in Champaign partnered with the American Heart Association and Illinois National Bank to promote heart-healthy lives through the Little Hats, Big Hearts campaign. The Little Hats, Big Hearts volunteers have knit 270 hats for newborn babies at Carle during the month of February. The hats were presented to the pediatric unit at Carle yesterday afternoon and were given to their first set of newborns. The hats come in all sizes to fit every baby's head. The campaign's goal is to promote heart health starting from the day of birth. Brigetti Pica, a volunteer from the area, shares her connection to the cause.
He had a heart problem. He had a quadruple bypass. So I sort of feel connected to the Heart Association. And I think all my littles can imagine that too. But especially when a little child has that, then it's even worse. You know? So we are very happy to live for the Heart Association.
Because of volunteers like Pika, the American Heart Association, along with Illinois National Bank, can keep working to promote the importance of living heart-healthy lives. Throughout the rest of the American Heart Month, newborn babies will continue receiving these red yarn hats upon their birth.
Not such cute news. More construction is being done on the western edge of Campustown as construction crews recently began the demolition of the strip mall located at 24 East Green Street. The location has been fenced off as construction crews aim to pave the way for a $30 million six-story apartment complex. The strip mall was home to tenants like Defy Gravity and Twin City Bible Church and the Champaign-Urbana Health District. These businesses have been forced to relocate after a Chicago-based real estate firm called CF Capital purchased the property in December for $4 million. The new 153-unit apartment complex will be across the street from West Quad Apartments and west of the Square Lake Drainage Basin.
Finishing up on a lighter note, here's what's trending on Twitter. President Trump recently installed a new and improved golf simulator in the White House. The addition cost $50,000 and was paid for out of Trump's own pocket. Despite paying for it himself, many on Twitter voiced their opinions, positive and negative, with over 39,000 people tweeting about the story on Wednesday alone. It was initially reported by the Washington Post, who was in an alleged feud with Trump and his news outlet, stemming from reports involving the Post owner, Jeff Bezos.
That's all we have for now, but there's plenty more coming after the break. But before we go, our Ui7 sports anchor, Jacob Diaz, is here to preview what's coming up in our sports update.
Thanks, Emily. When we come back, we'll take a look at Illinois basketball, a new fan favorite, and the big game we had over the weekend. And even though the Super Bowl is over, football isn't going anywhere yet, so stay tuned.
D4 is dead.
Yeah.
The Illini men's basketball team is rolling after a rocky start to the season and won their third game on the bounce with Rutgers in town. By the end of the game, Illini fans were chanting the name of their new folk hero, whose name they probably couldn't pronounce when the season started. The Scarlet Knights played the Illini tough Saturday, but freshman Georgi Bashanchevili did not let his team lose. The Georgia native, and that's Georgia the country, mind you, added to his growing legacy by dropping an Illini record 35 points. The big man found another gear late in the game. And Georgia, what does it mean to be able to break that record, especially in front of the home? They're scoring 29 points in the second half and overtime. His secret, maybe it was his pregame snack. The Illini will look to keep their win streak alive on the road at Ohio State later tonight. The Illini haven't won an away game all season, and Ohio State are on a 3-game win streak of their own. That brings their conference record to an even 6-6. Tip-off at Schottenstein Center is just half an hour away at 6 o'clock. So the Super Bowl might be finished, but this year, football is here to stay. With the inaugural week in the books, the Alliance of American Football is underway. The 8-team Professional Football League drew 2.9 million viewers for its debut broadcast on CBS and features 4 more games this weekend. The rules are a little different. No kickoffs, no extra points, games on Saturdays, but the faces are familiar featuring NFL vets and former college stars looking for another chance. If you don't know which team to root for, former Illini defensive tackle Chunky Clements is on the Arizona Hotshots roster. And finally today, And that concludes today's edition of
that
Ui7
concludes today's
News.
edition of
That's all.
Ui7 News, but make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Emily Steinmetz.
I'm Stephen Cohn. Have a great night, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day.